Czech Christmas tradition.
If there's one thing I've learned after 10 years of living in Prague, Czechia, it's that the Czechs are different.
Nebojte, ona je hodná.
But perhaps my favorite ways that Czechs distinguish themselves from the rest of the world,
Ona je hodná.
especially from Americans.
Češi jsou fucking, jak se hned nastírají. V chatu. Co mele, jak jako jsme jiný, co to kecá do píči, vole, co se do nás jebe. Češi, vole. Jako absolutně. Jedno slovo, kámo. Řekla jedno jediný slovo a já jsem se jenom podíval, jako, co řekne. A vy okamžitě. Ano, Češi jsou jiní. Okamžitě píčujou. Okamžitě.
Is the traditions of the Czech Christmas season. So in this video, we'll count the ways that Czech culture delights, surprises, and puzzles us foreigners during the holidays. And hopefully it will inspire you to add a little Czechness to your Christmas this year.
Jo, to mě fakt pobavilo. To bylo fakt
If you were to ask Americans, where's the Christmas spirit in your town? They'd probably say the mall. Or these days, I don't know, the back of the Amazon delivery truck. Basically, all the Christmassy lights and colors that remind us of the holiday spirit are a capitalist ploy to get you to spend more money at said shopping venue. Most American towns and cities don't really have public space to get together and enjoy holiday cheer. In European cities, and especially in Prague, the squares are decorated
No,
with
tam taky chcou, aby se utrácela lové, víš jak.
trees and ornaments and petting zoos
No, jasný,
and
že tam nemají
concert stages
jasný,
for
chápu.
carolers and performances. And when you're a brand new expat to Prague and don't know anyone, you can go to one of these squares and feel like you've been invited to a neighborhood
to
Christmas
neznají, no.
party. And you don't have to buy a thing.
Nemusíš.
Now, before any culture
pravda.
gets started on the Christmas cheer, they have to determine who is allowed to participate. And by that, I mean who's been naughty and who's been nice. Every year, this information is tracked by a team of data specialists in the workshop at the North Pole. But since Santa Claus does not actually deliver presents to Czech children, don't worry, we're gonna get the Czechs have allocated the responsibility of determining who has been naughty and who has been nice to Mikuláš, a bishop from Greece.
No, jako
And
přijde.
being a
No,
hardworking Greek, he likes to get his data out early in the season, specifically on the eve of Čert a Mikuláš Day, or December 5th. Mikuláš sets out with his assistants, not elves,
Ty vole, jim to musí vysvětlit takhle. Píčo, ten je nadranej, ten vpravo. Týčo, ty jsou vyndaný všichni tři už.
but Anděl and Čert, or Angel and the Devil. They travel from door to door, doling out judgments and sentences.
Ej, to oni nemůžou vůbec chápat. Amerikánci, jim to fakt, ona jim to musí vysvětlit takhle. Oni nemají Mikuláše prostě. U nich jako rozhodujou elfové, jestli byli hodný nebo zlí, jako Santa Claus, že o tom ví. A tady přijde prostě Mikuláš, řekne, jestli jsi byl hodný nebo zlej. Jo, no to oni vůbec nechápou. Jak to mají, víš co?
If a child has been good all year, Anděl will give him sweets, fruits, and small gifts.
Nemají ani
Child
čerty,
is
no.
bad.
No, jakoby...
Čert will kidnap him, throw him in a
Čert byl kidnapím, kámo. Tak to ti říkám, že nemůžou absolutně pobírat, co se tady děje. My jedeme docela diktát, jako na Velikonoce jdeš prášit holkám prdele, vol. Na Velikonoce tě borec ukradne, hodí do pytle, ty není divu, že tady máme trošku úzkosti a tak. Tam hledají vajíčka v parku děti, tady vole holky, vole zmalovaný řítě, borci na šrot na ulici ve sračkách od vajec, vole. To mi nikdy nedošlo. No, vole, tam přijde čertě, hulákají, vole, po chodbě, pičo, děcka se třepou pod stolama, brečej. Víš to bude, ty vole, ono, v Americe bys vždy k soudu. Tady je to fakt docela diktát, ty vole. Jsme z jiných jako vajec, ty vole.
will kidnap him, throw him in a sack of coal, and take him directly to hell. Not a total heartless monster, Chert will at least give the naughty child a potato to snack on during the journey. Unlike the bad kids on Santa's list, negotiating power. To keep from going to hell, and depending on their performance,
Dobře to popisuje, to
candy, the child has the option of reciting a poem or singing a song.
Mě by hrozně zajímalo, jak se na to dívají Američani. Rozumíš, že se na to dívají, na to video, hrozně chtěl tu jejich výraz, jako what the fuck.
If the performance pleases Mikuláš, he will advise Anděl to dole out some candy and Chert to back off until next
Je to dobře, právě to dělá to ze
srandy.
Jako.
Child actor labor laws against performing under duress.
Cože, jo. Tady dělej, zaspívej něco, jinak tě se do pekla, chápeš? Kurva, Petře, zaspěj něco, mě se tu posranou básničku naučit, teď jsou to, vole, 3 jenom verše do píči, skončíš v pekle, rozumíš, on tě veme do pytle, vole, dostaneš hovno. V Americe máme zákon proti tomu, aby děti vystupovaly pod nátlakem. Tady dělej, zaspívej něco.
But what do you want? It's the Czech Republic. Dance, kid, dance. American families will usually procure the Christmas tree a day or 2 after Thanksgiving, and then decorate it immediately, making it the centerpiece of a home's Christmas spirit. Mom will pull out the boxes of ornaments, collected over generations, traditional and in keeping with the true meaning of Christmas. Czechs procure their Christmas tree a little closer to Christmas Eve, and the tradition dictates that the tree is not decorated until the evening of the 24th. So I guess there's just a naked tree sitting in a Czech living room, just...
Ne, to my nemáme, my to dáváme na balkon opřít, chápeš?
Standing there for weeks and tempting the cat and bringing no joy? The Czech tree will eventually get decorated. And the Czechs have some very specific types of ornaments, like dried fruits and sweets and handmade traditional ornaments, which you can purchase at the Czech Christmas market if you wish. In the olden days, the tree was then shook so that the fruits and nuts would fall to the ground and the children would collect them as sweet Christmas rewards. Somehow, I don't think that would charm today's children. But the Czech family plays no part in decorating their own tree. They outsource that task to a total stranger who they've never even met. We'll get into that in a minute. It's not Santa. The Christmas dinner table is filled with the best cuisine the culture has to offer. Even people that don't celebrate Christmas fill their bellies with their very favorite foods. Dream Japan, that's a whole other channel. For many, it's the one time of year we get honey glazed ham or caramelized sweet potatoes or Christmas pudding. And for the Czechs, it's the one time of year they get to eat carp from the muddy pond down the road.
Jako já nejsem jako kaprál, jako...
Now there's nothing wrong with carp.
Víš co, je i diktát pro lidi, bude nepochopený, že normálně chodíme na ulici prostě, ho nechat zabít, vole, veřejně, víš co, jako, že tam prostě veřejně ho vyvalíš z kádě a sundají ho tam a dají ti ho, víš co. Že to pro ně taky bude jako vypadat fakt jako přísný, jako víš, že oni tam mají takový, víš jak to myslím.
And in times of famine or war, I'm sure it's delicious. But you gotta ask, is this the best food that the
Chápu, no, oni to zase nevidí jak takovou chuťovku, no, pro mě řízek a losos radši.
Czech lands have to offer. And second, do you even really like it?
No.
In fact, they don't. I've never heard a Czech go, I can't wait for that Christmas carp.
Tak to já jsem slyšel.
But having something to complain about is what makes it a truly Czech holiday.
To už rok, Joey.
For dinner it is. If you're on the streets of Prague the week before Christmas and you have a strong stomach, you can pick out a carp from your corner fishmonger.
Vidíš, teď to říká.
They're standing on the corner with the carp.
Ale já vím, že to je tradice, ale já tohle třeba taky fanda úplně ultra nejsem. Mně se to moc jako nelíbí. Jako děcko jsem byl hotovej, že tam plavou ryby, ale teď už se mi to, víš co, nevím. Já jsem na tohle jako citlivý, vole. Jo, jsem masožravec, všechno, ale nepotřebuji, aby tam týpek prostě, když jdu do obchodu, rozbíjel kapra.
Swimming in a little baby pool. The fishmonger will cut off the poor fish's head right in front of you. Or if you have a taste for blood yourself, you can take the carp home and let it swim around in the bathtub before you fry it up for Christmas.
Hell
dinner. Now imagine in America that there were just crates on the corner of your block and you just point to one and the turkey monger would pick it out and chop off its head and give it to you to take home to eat. Or even better, give it to you live and you could take it home for little Johnny to poke at for a few days before.
To je div. Jako já vím, že to je jako tradice, jo. Já vůbec nechci srovnávat to s ničím jiným, jako já jsem v tomhle vyrostl, ale ty vole jako jo. No.
You know, eating it. Even though they keep up the tradition to buy the carp, many Czechs actually eat řízek for Christmas dinner, which is essentially schnitzel, but impossible for foreigners to pronounce, which makes it an especially Czech dish. Say it with me. Řízek. These days, Czechs who wish to keep up the tradition but are concerned with animal cruelty will buy the carp, play with it for a few days in the bathtub, and then release it into the freezing cold Vltava River, where it will then wash up on the shores in time for New Year's. Again, imagine if the night before Christmas we had an attack of conscience and just released our turkeys into the countryside. Now, potatoes are not just a kid's snack food for the journey to hell. They're also a much beloved side dish at Czech Christmas dinner. So, carp, řízek, potato salad, and fish soup. These are the Czech Christmas dinner table essentials.
Pivo.
There is nothing harder for an American child than falling asleep on Christmas, knowing that very soon the Santa Claus will be in their house with a sack full of Christmas presents for them. But here's the twist. Santa won't come unless the child is sound asleep. It is perhaps the hardest thing that...
Já jako malej jsem fascinovaně sledoval toho kapra, vlastně 2 kapry. Chtěl jsem je umýt a nasypal jsem tam prášek do pračky. Pak mě zavolal otec, ať zajdu a kapři plavali obráceně. No nic, koupili jsme nový, ale měl jsem pak schýzu z kaprů ve vaně.
No, co mám říct, no, bez dítě, víš co, chtěl jsem udělat jako hezky, jakože se o ně postaráš, že, co mám na to říct, no, jestli by je umyl mýdlem, to by bylo asi úplně jedno, vole, co mám na to říct, no, myslel jsi to asi dobře.
That an American child will ever have to endure. Mommy knows this, and so she's always sure to add a little something special to that glass of warm milk before bedtime. Then, when the American child awakes on the morning of the 25th, still hungover from the warm milk, he will quickly sober up, lose all control, and attack the pile of presents like a cat in a bag full of catnip. On the other end of the spectrum, Czech children display some epic self-control. American children would never survive a Czech Christmas. So, presents are delivered to Czech children on the evening of the 24th.
Jo, oni to mají ráno 24. ne 25. jakoby. Takže oni mají dárky dřív, jak kdyby. My čekáme vlastně celý den, než si je musíme, oni mají 25. No, takže proč to říká, že by to nevydrželi, když by měli dárky dřív? No ale jasně, oni kdyby museli čekat do večera 25. tak to nevydrží.
Not while they sleep, but while they sit in the next room,
jo, že už mají tam ty dárky,
eating a plate of fish.
Jo, tak to myslím.
Oh, they know what's going on in the room next door.
No.
Gifts just poofing themselves into existence at that very moment, only a few meters away, as they take another bite of fish. Now imagine if it had been Czech children at the Stanford marshmallow test. I see your 2 marshmallows, and I raise you 45. Go ahead and start counting them. I'll just be here eating my fish. I could do this all day. The self-control is frankly inspiring.
Jsem nebyl moc sebekontrolovaný. Já jsem vždycky se díval na mámu. Říkám, jes už. A ona, kapra. Sakra, ten je dobrý. Kurva, dala bych si ještě jedno. Ještě si dám jednoho, možná ještě si přidám. Říkám, mámu. Jako děcko jsem vždycky úplně, tyhle, mámka mě trolila.
And now the part you've all been waiting for. Why does Santa avoid the Czech Republic? And who is this baby creepster decorating all the Czech Christmas trees? Santa does not deliver to the Czech Republic because the Czechs don't believe in him. Not even a little bit. Not even when they're young. Is it because they're a cynical bunch, skeptical of everything? Yes, but also because they have an older tradition. No. One at least remotely in keeping with the actual meaning of Christmas, which has been lacking in this entire video so far. My mother is weeping. Ježíšek is the affectionate Czech name for baby Jesus. And yes, the birthday boy himself spends the entire day before his birthday delivering gifts to Czech children and decorating their Christmas trees with his little baby hands. And he works really fast. I mean, he basically covers about 4 million homes in the length of time it takes for a kid to eat a plate of carp.
Hell yes.
Which actually can take a
Pěkné
while.
svátky,
He then
Kájo.
rings his tiny bell
Dali si tobě
and
taky.
poof, he's
Děkuju
back
za
out
10
the window
měsíců,
from whence
děkuju.
he came. The children in the house then run into the room to discover a decorated tree and gifts for all, which they then open on the night of the 24th. Ironically, despite all of
Hell
this
yeah.
Christmas tradition, Czechs are some of the most atheistic, or at least agnostic people in the world. But that doesn't stop them from attending midnight mass on Christmas Eve. But just to cover, their bases, earlier that evening, they go hog wild into superstition and fortune telling. They determine next year's health by reading the pattern of seeds in an apple. Czech single ladies chuck a shoe over their shoulder to determine the likelihood of marriage. And Czech men place a carp scale in their wallet so that money sticks to them the following year. If you're interested in more details or interested in watching two clueless Americans trying to recreate these Czech traditions, I made a video for you right here.
No.
We Americans like to watch big box office hits on Christmas, like Home Alone, celebrating the
Hell yes.
rugged
Tak a je po Vánocích. A jsou Vánoce pořád čet, jaký GG. Uklidněte se, furt jsou Vánoce, kokoti.
individualism of the little hero who will defend his property at all costs. Or Love Actually, the hilarious antics of several Brits who are catastrophically bad at romance. Anglo-American popular movies reflect the trials of our modern Christmas season. The onerous travel, the trappings of consumerism,
Řekni
the
naše
difficulty of
pohádky.
finding someone to share your schnapps with. Czechs enjoy a very different
Ne, my taky
genre
máme
of
rádi
movie
sám
at
doma,
Christmas
ale
time.
máme svoje vály.
The fairy tale. And they take their fairy tales very seriously, and they're not at all just for kids. České televize will show as many as 9 fairy tales in one day for several days over Christmas. Many of them are generations old stories along the lines of Brothers Grimm's tales with witches and princesses and water goblins and dragons. And České televize premieres a new fairy tale every Christmas Eve to add to the
Já ty nový pohádky vůbec neznám třeba. Dneska jsem se po dlouhý době... Jo, to nebylo český, to byl Denis Postrach ulice nebo okolí. Ale koukal jsem dneska chůl na televizi. Honza Málem králem.
If you're not in the Czech Republic, you can always flip on your VPN to watch them.
Dělá to dobře.
And of course, there is the modern classic of Czech Christmas, Pališky, which for me connects all of these components of Czech traditional Christmas together. The food, the fortune telling, the carp, the tragic history, and all wrapped in a big bow of Czech humor. And if you haven't seen Pališky, or if you simply want an American's take on this Czech classic, then you should definitely watch my review here. Hanza, Tobik, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. And if you've
Jsem jediná, která neviděla Pelíšky.
never been
Hej,
to the Czech Republic during the Christmas season, now is the perfect time to buy your ticket for
Kdy-
2023.
kdy je s tebou měla
Uvidíme se
výsvět?
příště. Ahoj.
dneska doma je zapl, vole, jako televizi ráno a tam Kobra 11, vole. Říkám, what the shit? Tam AZ Quiz nebo něco, jako, nebo, jakože prostě, jakože,